G'day, it's Clive Roxing here. I want to educate people in Australia about 3D printing, and it's something that you need to know right now. Why? Because you're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out 3D printing, and it'll take, if you go your regular course, it's going to take you a year before I can teach you stuff that's going to save you a year in work. You got to get your head around this stuff. Now, this is an example, right? So these little things here, this is $5. This little thing here, I think I bought that for $5. Now there's 30 of those little hexagonal things in there. I've got about 300 of them. So I started making these up. No worries. Every one of those takes an hour, right? So there's 2 hours right there. This thing here took, I think, nearly 2 hours to print that out. Now, all I'm saying is people say things like, oh, I could do that, but I haven't got the time. With 3D printing, time is the commodity. Time is what you have to spend, because time is experience. Getting 2 extruders to work is going to take you ages. You've got to figure out how to... I've burned a whole roll in 1 week. And you might think that's not much. That's huge. That's a huge amount of printing. See these 2 bottom boxes? They're full of models. Both of those big ones at the bottom, the one with the black base and the one above it, the one above it's only about quarter full, but the bottom one is chockers with little models. Every one of them's 4 hours, 8 hours. This big one here, they took 10 hours. This one here took about 5 hours. Now, I'm not trying to deter you, I'm trying to educate you. If you're in Australia and you're doing 3D printing, they'll have you believe they're giving you all these huge models, and they're making out like, oh yeah, just get on there and knock them out. You know, print yourself a Ferrari. Oh, for God's sake. Now, I see this one here, that takes 30, right? So I made a little 15, which is 3 of these. 3 of these little ones, without the backing plate, right? So I thought I'll just make a little one. So, I designed this. Right, there you are there. Little 3 one, little tiny one, right? This is the print time. It says 5 hours and 35 minutes. 5 hours! 5 hours! So my point is for the last 2 weeks, or last week, I've been doing printing non-stop. And I'm making huge headway here, but you might say, oh well, I'll just design it better and just print it all. You can't, because every single solitary dimension has to be down to the millimetre. You make one mistake, you get it out by 1 millimetre, you can't get the screw in. You can't file it because the plastic melts. That's it. That's even if you're only working in PLA. If you're working in ABS, it's even harder. So what I'm trying to say here is, aside from the fact of buying a professional printer, I'd highly recommend getting a professional printer, because when you start doing this stuff and you start making real things, these things can catch fire. One model there took 12 hours to print, and that seems to be the norm with this, is if you're going to print anything of any reasonable size, it's going to take you 10 hours. See, I want to make a case up that holds 100 of these, right? That's probably going to take about, well, probably 24 hours to print out. If you've got one of those cheap machines, it's going to go up in flames, so you've got to have it in your room. So my suggestion is if you've got to quit, and there's a few people in Australia that have got some money, and they've got brains, but we don't all get on the same wavelength. I'm trying to get you all on the same wavelength here. There's a new thing now called Thingiverse. It's MakerBot, and it's an Australian site, right? You need to get on there. NetFab, the Americans don't like it because I'm advertising, and they actually pulled my post down because I'm advertising MakerBot. It's an Australian site for help for designers of 3D printing, and you can download free. You can download this design for free off me for nothing. But you got to get on a MakerBot Thingiverse, and if you're buying yourself a new house or you bought a second-hand house and you're renovating, you need a little room about the size of a toilet. You need it interconnected with your land so that when you're watching TV, you have a little light in there, and you have exactly the same principle as I've got here. See, I'm watching TV, my TV's there. The printer's here, my computer's here. It's perfect. I'm sitting right smack in the middle of it. So I'm using the computer, I can see the 3D printer. I'm watching TV, I can see the 3D printer. I make a cup of coffee, I can see the 3D printer. Because you've got to keep a goddamn eye on it all the time. If it goes up in flames, not a good idea. You know? Buying a new house because it's burned down, adds a little bit to your expenditure. It's highly not recommended. So, you really got to keep an eye on this. So you need sort of like glass doors. It's got to be soundproof because it's going word buzz. Especially if you're running dual extruders, I highly recommend getting duals. Because it really saves a huge amount of time because you halve your time. The only thing I'm a bit miffed with this is when I did get to work and it did one and it moved over and then used the other one individually. I don't even know whether they can run at the same time. I'm a bit sus about this, but it does give you 2 rolls of filament to be able to use on a job, which is really good, which means you can make very, very large jobs. It's really handy. You got twin filament, you got twin extruders and twin reels. You really burn up a lot of extrusion material when you start doing this stuff fair income. But you need a little room about the size of a toilet, needs to be interconnected with your lounge. You need to see it from the kitchen, you need to see it from the lounge room. You even need to be able to keep an eye on it in your bedroom. You need to be able to view it anywhere in your house because it's going to be going freaking days at a time. You need to be able to just see if there's anything going wrong. And you can go in there and turn the thing off. And, I'd even go to the point where if you're going to go into your bedroom and go to sleep and you're a bit worried about it, pause it or something like that and then come back and turn it back on in the morning when you wake up. You can do that apparently with these things and it'll resume printing, but boy oh boy, you're going to spend a lot of time doing this. You need to get your head around the time frame of this. So this particular little thing is going to take, and all this is the bottom. This is only the bottom part of it. That's just the bottom part of it. That's only for 3. That's only going to hold 15 of these. I want to make it's got a little bay at the bottom so you can put little odds and sods in there and a couple little drawers in the bottom of it. And I also want to put these things so it's got labels on it. This is the more advanced version. It'll have labels on it. But boy oh boy, the time I'm going to be spending doing this. It's incredible technology. It's where high tech is at. But if you're designing your own house, you need to have a little room and you need to be able to do what I'm doing here, looking right at it. I mean, I've got the ideal situation here. But to get what I've got, even though I didn't buy it all myself, I bought the